Hey, it's Brian Strigler, and I am so glad that you are here and you found our wedding budget calculator. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's going to help out a lot of people. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a run through of this, trying to explain some things so you can have the best experience with it, but also, get the closest, most accurate estimate possible. So we're going to do a quick run through and just show you a few little things. So here is the general calculator. I know when you see it, there's going to be some other words and stuff around it, but that's okay. We can still look at this and it'll be the same. So click on Get Started. Now the first step is extremely important and it's going to affect the overall number. Basically, depending on where you live, things are going to either be more expensive or cheaper, because the cost of living varies from place to place. So if you live in a place that is extremely high, you would want to choose a high cost of living. If you live in a place where things are cheaper than everywhere else, you would choose low cost of living. And if you think you're just kind of in the middle, you would choose middle cost of living. Now, in about every question, you're going to have this little drop down, and I've gone ahead and put the none on pretty much, I think, on all of them, because maybe you're not going to have a photographer because your uncle's a really good photographer, or maybe you're not going to have cake because you don't like cake, or maybe because someone volunteered to bake you a cake. So I have that option there, and basically if you click none, it's going to put $0 in for that category. Now the other things you're going to see basically on all of them will be like a low, medium, and high option again. And on most of these, what it's talking about is how much you value that item. So if photography is like your favorite thing, if it's what you're wanting to spend the most money on, if you just care about it so much, you would go ahead and choose high importance. Now, if it's something you don't care about, you would choose low importance. Or if it's just kind of in the middle and you're unsure, I would choose medium importance. So here's another page that I really wanted to show you guys. There'll be multiple pages, questions, where the total depends on how many people you're talking about. So like for meals, the price is going to be a lot different if you're talking about 40 people versus 400 people. So I have these sliders that are going to help calculate the total based on the amount of people. So we have these sliders, and these are still talking about how much you care about something. So average or below average, average, and then above. So you will only pick one of these sliders to adjust. So if I really care about my catering and my food, I'm going to go over here to the catering above average. And I have it set up where it's going by tens. So if you have 100 people, you'll move that over to 100, and it will calculate that out based on that. Or if you're doing 50 or whatever. And I know some of you, it may not be an even number like that, but it just kind of keeps things easier if it is that way. The hair and makeup is another one of those situations. So if you're not paying for anyone's hair and makeup except your own, you will not do anything over here that has to do with the bridesmaids. You will only affect yourself. But if you are paying for those things, first you'll choose what you're doing here. And if you're not paying for it, you would choose none. But if you're paying for it, then you would pick whatever applies. And then if you are paying for your bridesmaids, you would come over here and again, pick whichever one you want, and you're going to slide it depending on how many bridesmaids you have. And the last one that I think is kind of important is also the groomsmen. It's the same situation. If you're paying for them, then this needs to be in here. But this also includes the groom. So if you're only paying for the groom, then you would only be moving it over for one person. And again, you choose. So maybe in this situation, the groom is extremely important. So we'll put the highest one at 1. And then maybe for the rest of them, maybe they're not as important. And we'll put them at there's 5 of them, so we'll put 5. And the very last question is other expenses. Now, there are a lot of other things I probably could have put in here, but a lot of them were smaller and I didn't think it would be that important. And it could just take a lot of time to do that. So at the very end, if you know there's something else that you're going to be paying for, that's where this other expenses comes in. Each little click on here is $100. So if you know you're going to be spending, an extra $1,000 on, I don't know, whatever gifts for people, then you can move that over to 10, and that would be you'd be talking about that. When you get to the last one, it will tell you what that final estimate was. Now, guys, I honestly, when I went through it, I was just clicking none for like 90% of these. So this is not a real number for me. But when you get to the end, there are two options. You can take that final number and be done with it. If you want a detailed breakdown of like, this is how much for this is how much for this is how much for this, you can simply put your first name and your email in there, and you will get that in an email where it breaks down every single thing. All right, guys, that's about it. That's all you need to know to use the free wedding budget calculator. I know it may have taken me a while to explain it, but I'd rather have the information out there to help you guys and walk you through it versus just letting you fumble around and try and figure it out on your own. Now, again, guys, this is a general tool, okay? It may not be perfect. In general, what I would tell you is to take that number and add more onto it. It's always better to have a bigger budget and then not use all of it than to have like this small budget and then you start cringing every time you go over it. So in the end, if you don't spend all that money, you're feeling good because you didn't spend all of it. But take what you can from it. Hopefully it's helpful. If you have any questions, if you need any help, feel free to contact me and I would love to help you guys. All right, have a good one.